In this video, we're going to take a look at doing a limiting reactant problem with some actual chemical formulas and a real chemistry problem. In a previous video, we led into this with a smoothie and bananas and ice cube example, but we're going to take a look at some actual chemical formulas in this particular video. So the first problem that we're going to look at is identify the limiting reagent when 6 grams of HCl reacts with 5 grams of magnesium. So remember we said reagent and reactant are two words that are used interchangeably. They do mean the same thing for our purposes. So the first thing that we need to do is to write a balanced chemical equation. So let's go ahead and start. So we'll read it again. Identify the limiting reagent when 6 grams of HCl. HCl is hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid. So we're going to write HCl, and we are reacting that with magnesium. So magnesium is not a diatomic molecule, so I can just put Mg by itself. And what you're going to see here is this is actually going to end up being a single replacement reaction. So our two products are going to be magnesium chloride. Magnesium has a positive 2 charge. Chlorine has a negative 1 charge, so I need MgCl2. And what's left over is the hydrogen, so I'm going to put an H, but I know I need to put a 2 on the hydrogen, not necessarily because of charges, but because hydrogen is a diatomic molecule, meaning that hydrogen cannot be by itself. So whenever I have hydrogen gas, it's always H2. So hydrogen is either bound with another hydrogen or a different element, but in this particular product, it's just hydrogen, so we got to have H2. Now let's double check and make sure that it is balanced. So I've got 1 chlorine on the left. I'm going to start with chlorine. So I got 1 chlorine on the left. I have 2 chlorines on the right. So if I put a 2 in front of this, that's going to give me my 2 chlorines that I need here. Look at magnesium. I have 1 magnesium on the left. I have 1 magnesium on the right. Now let's double check hydrogen. I have 2 hydrogens on the left, and here I have 2 hydrogens on the right. So this is a correctly balanced chemical equation as we have it written. So the question asks, identify the limiting reagent with 6 grams. So whenever we see the word gram, we know we have to do a little bit more work because we can only compare moles. We can't compare grams. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and convert 6 grams of HCl into moles of HCl, and then we're going to have to convert 5 grams of magnesium into moles of magnesium. So we'll go ahead and start with the HCl. So I'm going to take what they give me. They give me 6 grams of HCl. So I'm going to solve these using the fence post problem method. You could use proportions, but I'll use the fence post problem method in order to do these. So I've got grams of HCl, and I want to end up with moles of HCl. So I'm going to go ahead and put grams of HCl on the bottom because I want to cancel out grams of HCl. And when I find the molar mass of HCl, I know that turns out to be 36.458. Well, that's not going to be enough room. Let's make some more room here. So that's going to be 36.458 grams of HCl, and I know that is 1 mole of HCl, so that's what goes on top. So here what's going to happen, my grams of HCl are going to cancel, my grams of HCl are going to cancel, I'm left with moles of HCl, which is what I want. So after I do this, I basically am taking 6 divided by 36.458, and the number that I get for that comes out to be 0.161646, and this is moles of HCl. So moles of HCl. So this is going to be the first number that I look at as far as HCl. Or one thing that I can go ahead and do, now that I've got the moles here, I can go ahead and, well, let's just go ahead and find out how many moles that 5 grams of magnesium are also. So let's scroll down, and we'll make a little bit of room here. So once again, I'll use the factor label method. So they give me 5 grams of magnesium to start with. So my fence post problem. So I know I've got I need to put grams on the bottom. So the molar mass of magnesium is 24.305, and that's grams of magnesium, and I know that's equal to 1 mole of magnesium. So once again, the grams of magnesium are going to cancel here. The units I'm going to be left with is moles of magnesium, which is what I wanted. So when I divide 5 by 24.305, I'm going to get 0.2057 moles of magnesium. Alright, so now I've converted my grams into moles. The next thing that I need to do is to go ahead and go back to my balanced equation, and I need to set up a mole ratio between magnesium and hydrogen chloride. Okay, so from up here, I know that magnesium and hydrogen chloride is a 2-to-1 ratio. So let's go ahead and scroll down, and we'll do this 2-to-1 ratio. So I know that I have 2 moles of HCl for every 1 mole of magnesium. So in this case, I'm going to use the ratio. So I'm going to put my equals in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick one. So let's go ahead and pick X for HCl. So I'm going to say X moles of HCl. So yeah, X moles of HCl. So that means on the bottom, I've got moles of magnesium, which is 0.00, no. Alright, so I know that my magnesium was 0.2057. And I get this number, let's scroll back up, this number here come from what we calculated the moles of magnesium to be here. So we'll go ahead and put moles of magnesium on the bottom there. Okay, so let's scroll back down. So here to solve this, I'll just cross multiply. So I'll say x times 1 is going to give me my x, and then 2 times this number is going to give me let's see, let's back up here. So yeah, so my x times 1 gives me x, and when I say 2 times the 2, or 0.2057, that's going to give me 0.4114, and the units on that is moles of HCl. Alright, so what this number means is this. Once I've calculated this X means that I need 0.4114 moles of HCl. So if I go back up to my problem, how many moles of HCl did I actually have? So let's scroll back up. My moles of HCl comes from right here. This is how many moles of HCl that I actually had. So I had 0.1646, but I needed 0.4114. So I did not have enough HCl that I needed. So if we scroll back down, what that means is when you need more than you actually have, it means that whatever you have, or whatever compound you're looking at, that is going to be your limiting reactant. So the HCl is going to be my limiting reactant. So I don't even have to do any more math at this point. If I know that the HCl is the limiting reactant, I automatically know now that my magnesium is going to be my excess reactant. Which means that in a chemical reaction, my HCl is going to run out first. That's going to be my limiting reactant. So I hope you found that video helpful.